All right. Hello, everybody. We are here live now for this week's episode of Weekly Sessions. I've got two great people joining me today, Shanita and Kathy. Please come on down. Come and join us. Beautiful. So, thank you, ladies, for joining me today for this week's episode of Weekly Sessions. I'm super excited about. Can you believe the countdown? Like we're getting pretty darn close to scaling new heights happening. I mean, faster than we're going to realize it, right? So, how about you, ladies? You ready for it? Oh, I think we got you muted,
Yep,
Kathy.
I got it. Yeah, there we go. I'll be meeting 2 weeks from tomorrow. Yep.
So that's a good point. So I'm actually, this is my chance to get a little bit extra free time. So I'm leaving and getting there on the 20th. So I'll have at least a couple days. I've got a good friend that lives in the area that I haven't seen in like over 10 years. So I'm going to be able to reconnect with them. Um, Shanita, how far away is this from where you live?
Um, I don't know. I didn't check. Oh, you know what? It's about a 4.5, 5 hour flight.
Oh, flight?
Yeah.
See,
I'm in
Texas is so big. I
Delaware.
had to ask. Like, you could have been really close, or pretty far. Okay, so you're still flying too. So, and when do you show up?
I get there on Saturday.
Nice. So that's a good question. I'm assuming many of the people that are here watching, we've been doing this ramp up. If you're going to Scaling New Heights, when are you arriving? Put it in the comments. I'd love to know what day you're getting there, what day you're taking off. Ken's telling us he's going to be there on Saturday. And of course, I'm asking this for personal reasons. We got to know who to have some fun with and dinner maybe the nights before and everything, right? So find ways to keep ourselves busy. Lynn's going to be there Saturday as well. Lillian's Saturday. Nice.
Bunch of Saturday arrivals. Bunch of
Nice.
Saturday arrivals. Yep.
Which is good, right? I mean, you need a little bit of time to get comfortable, to relax before you're jumping in because the show actually starts on Sunday. So if you're doing that last minute jump in, jump out, boy, that's kind of tough. So for this week, we're going to dive in real quick, and I'd love to hear about each of your sessions that a little bit of a teaser, talk about the things that you've got going on. If you want to share some slides, you're definitely welcome to do so. But actually, before I even do that, Shanita, would you please introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are? I know who you are, but let's have you introduce, and then Kathy, I'll have you go next.
Okay, so my name is Shanita Jones. I'm a CPA. I started out with a small tax practice. We have since grown to a full service accounting firm. We serve childcare and healthcare providers. We are the accountants that care. And in my spare time, when I'm not taking care of my clients, we also take care of our other clients with my partner, Ben Brown at Brown Jones Consulting, where we help accountants and tax professionals build the firms of their dreams through lead generation systems.
So I have to ask you, I mean, within the childcare realm, COVID must have really hit your industry pretty dang hard. Are they
It really did.
How are they doing? Are they coming back? I mean, slowly but
They never
surely.
left. They never left. They are true essential workers. They kept our
Amen.
economy going so that our first responders could respond and our healthcare professionals. So big ups to them. I really think I serve some of the best people in this country. They had a rough time, but they are resilient people and they're coming back, but they never really left.
I love it. I'm not familiar with anybody else who's actually like, I don't think I've talked to anybody else who specialized in that niche. So that's everybody take note of it so you know who to talk to as the specialist in that environment. So awesome. Thank you, Shanita. And Kathy, would you please do us the honors of introducing yourself as well?
All right. Well, I am a sole proprietor doing business as Bookkeeping Clean and Simple. I am from Austell, Georgia, which is west of Atlanta. I've been doing this for a while, mostly kind of segued into training other people how to use QuickBooks, both desktop and online. But I do have a few clients that I still work with monthly. And I'm also a leader of our local water group, which meets monthly. So we've been around since January of 2018. And you may have noticed I have a Woodard beach towel behind me.
Nice product placement there. Good job. And actually, so Kathy, I've got to give you props again. One of the things that you did with your Woodard group right at the beginning of COVID is you recognized the benefit of kind of taking it more online and invited people such as myself from California to be able to join into the group, which I think was just brilliant. And so, good move on that. Very, very smart.
Well, I appreciate that. And one of the things that I noticed, and especially in the last couple of years of doing our Woodard group, is that there were a lot of areas in the country that just did not have a Woodard group. So I wanted somewhere for them to go, and I would meet people at scaling. And I said, well, you are welcome to be a part of our group. And it ended up working out with the pandemic when everything shut down and we couldn't meet in person. We just continued to meet online when other groups were basically being dormant. We've just continued. We haven't missed a beat. We've met every month. And so, we've even had a few people locally that have joined our group since then. Some of them I haven't met in person yet, which I'll be seeing for the very first time coming up in a couple of weeks. So it's been quite a ride.
That's, again, I keep saying each week, but that's probably the most exciting part about what's coming up here. This is my vacation, is going to an accounting conference and getting to hang out and see friends. So, which is why we get there a little bit early and we stay a little late, right? It's that tax deductible expense when it's tied in correctly. Correct, Shanita? I'm not a CPA. Can I get away with that?
Yes, that's why I'm going the day before.
Perfect. Love it. All right, so I'm going to pull up my slides here. Nothing super fancy, but basically, oops, let's see here. See, I started at the wrong place. Gosh darn it. There we go. Pretend you didn't see those, folks. Here's the next step. So I figured we'd bounce back and forth. Shanita, you've got 2 different sessions you're teaching this year. The first one is Unstoppable Growth, How to Manage the Change. So what's that session going to be about?
That session is going to be about growing your practice, some of the challenges and opportunities that come along with it. There can be a lot of overwhelm, but how to manage that and not let it overtake you so that you can continue to grow unstoppably and be successful.
I feel that's a very timely topic for sure. It's especially throughout all of this COVID time, right? Like how do you bounce back? How do you deal with all of these different things? And then, so Kathy, you also have 2 sessions. One of yours is the Networking Revisited After the Pandemic. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, well, if any of y'all attended the Salt Lake scaling in 2019, I did networking, which was basically an introduction to networking. Well, this is not going to be necessarily repeated that. I will share a lot of the same stuff I covered in that workshop, but basically I want to spend a lot of time talking about what has happened since the pandemic, how networking may have changed in some ways, but basically how it stayed the same, because I want to leave a lot of room at the end for all of us to share our experiences. And up until about maybe a month or so ago, I felt like I knew exactly how I was going to end and wrap everything up, but I've had a few things happen. I'm going to be probably as transparent, and those of y'all who know me know that I can get transparent, but this is going to be my transparent. I'm going to be so transparent that you're not going to believe how transparent I'm going to be. But I feel like we got to do that because that room is going to be like Vegas. What is in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, what in that room stays in that room. So that if you want to talk about anything that you've been struggling with, that will be the session to go to. So we're all here for each other. And that's basically kind of what I want to convey in that session.
That sounds amazing. I hope we're not at the same time so I can get in on this therapy. I think I need to be in the room with you as well.
So it's funny, Kathy and I were speaking about this earlier, that obviously within a conference, you've got so many slots to fill, but only so many hours in the day. And there are so many different phenomenal speakers that are presenting. We've barely like introduced a handful of them over the last couple of weeks. And that is always one of those challenges that even as a speaker, there's times like, I want to be in that session, right? Like, can we do a field trip from mine over to the other one? Maybe I don't think they would appreciate if we did that. I don't know. But so, the thing I love about both of these first sessions is they're very real world. It seems like they're driven directly from the last year and a half of experiences. I do have one question, which is, so behind the scenes thing, all final drafts, I believe, are supposed to be due by this week, right? Are your
Tomorrow,
final
I
drafts
think.
in yet?
Mine are, but I think it was tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow.
I mean, I've already submitted mine, so I'm not changing anything at this point, but I do a lot of ad libbing anyway, so anyway, y'all have to come.
Yep.
I'll still be following the objectives, but
Yes.
yeah.
I tend to be, I think the terminology is fashionably late when it comes to the deadlines of these things, because I just want to try to make sure everything is as perfect as possible. But it is the goal when you're doing these presentations. My personal favorite part of it is the Q&A. It is the interaction, right? It's, maybe I'm weird, but I love when people ask me hard questions because it makes me really kind of stretch my mind. What about for you? Doing presentations, speaking, like, what's your favorite part of it?
I like the Q&A as well.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I spent a tremendous amount of time on Zoom and speaking live in front of the camera. And I almost forgot how shy I am. So this will be my first time going out into the real world in front of lots of people in a long time. And my first time at Scaling New Heights. So I really don't know what to expect. I'm really looking forward to it. But I really like the Q&A, the engagement, the things that you would have included, because you always remember after I submitted the final draft, darn, I wish I would have put that in there. Oh, I really want to tell them that. So the Q&A oftentimes allows for you to share things that you may have not even otherwise realized you needed to share.
I would agree. What do you think, Kathy?
Well, I like the Q&A as well, but the way that my sessions are scheduled is going to be more of a sharing than more of a, of course, people will ask questions, but what I'm hoping is that people will share of their experiences. And when we talk about my second workshop, you'll see why. But this one in particular, I'm going to be quite raw and real, sharing, what's happened in the last few months. And I'm not going to give away the store right now because I want you to come. Okay.
Yes.
All of us have suffered one way or the other, and this will be your opportunity to maybe get those things off your chest. Know that we are all here for you, and that's what I really want everybody to understand is that one thing about I will share this. One thing about networking is relationship. And that's kind of what scaling is all about. It's about developing relationships. You go every year, it's like a huge family reunion. So, you look forward to seeing people that you haven't seen in a while. And you also get a chance to meet new people in person that you may have had connections with in other ways.
I completely agree. I mean, it's one of the best reasons to go to these things. And Lillian was saying, so true. How do you pick what you really need? Hopefully we can all share our nuggets. Matthew, you should have a session where people share what they learned in each session so we can learn from each other. Love the idea. And I like one of the things I will be doing there besides the sessions I'll have. I actually have, I think it's on Tuesday. Most of my day is pretty open. You can come find me, and surprise, surprise, I'll be doing some live stream stuff to where people can kind of share their experiences and the fun they've been having at the show. So it's kind of in alignment like that. But I love this as an idea that's a follow-up for weekly sessions afterwards that people can come in and share their nuggets of wisdom. So I would love to do it. And I hope you're going to be willing to jump on that session as well. So,
and there was something that I saw, I can't remember where exactly, but I think Ingrid Edstrom is going to be doing kind of that in one of her very last sessions on the very last day. So
That's an amazing session that she does. So I've had the privilege to be a part of it in the past, and it's like a cool down session. There's a better terminology for it, but it's a recap. It gives you a chance to kind of like let everything soak in, absorb it, and acknowledge it, which is a good point. So I'm going to share my screen here. So the next one, Kathy, that you had is, I definitely like this one here. Accounting professionals. Accounting professionals have personalities. Who knew, right? I think most of us probably that are up here do, just a little bit, right? So tell us about that one.
well, as most of us in this field probably will make, and of course, people on the outside make the assumptions that we're all dry, boring, we're all introverted and all this other stuff, and that's not true. So one of the things I want to do is I want to deep dive into what an introvert is, what an extrovert is, and then we're going to also talk about another personality type that well, I won't tell you the whole thing right now, but just understand that where I get a lot of this information from is just from research that I've done working with job seekers over the years and helping them understand about, how personalities fit into you're trying to find the right job for yourself, but also working with groups and teams and things like that. So that just kind of segued into doing this. And someone had told me about a website called 16personalities.com. And so I went through and did that assessment, and I've done some Myers-Briggs type testing in the past. And this one was really, for the free version, it really gave me a lot of information that validated a lot of stuff about myself, but it also provides me with other resources if I wanted to do some further research on myself, but it also provides me with a way to share that information with others that I might be working with on teams. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some people who are true introverts that you would not believe that are introverts, because thing is that we make assumptions about people, and we shouldn't be making the assumptions, but that's one of the things that we'll talk about. So that's going to be the longer of the two sessions that I'll be doing. One of the things I'm hoping that people will do will at least go ahead and if they haven't done the 16personalities.com assessment beforehand, don't let that scare you from coming, because we're going to talk at the very end. We're going to share, if you've done some sort of personality assessment, come in and share your experiences. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be very interactive.
So I'd love to ask in the comments of everybody, do you think you're more of an introvert or an extrovert? Tell us what you guys think, which one. And I know there's a third one, but I heard you teasing it, so I'm going to not actually announce that one on purpose, but I'd love to see what people think. And so, Shanita, I saw you saying that you feel you're more of an introvert. Is that correct?
I am an extroverted introvert, so I'm complicated. I love people. I'm a people person. I get along well with people, but ironically enough, I'm shy. People don't believe it, especially people. Once I know you, you're stuck with me. Too late. It's over, game over. But that getting warmed up phase takes a bit. Really good.
I find
might be one of those that's in that other category. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting session, right? Because there is a lot of confusion between the two of them and how they blend or don't and so forth. One of the best ways I've ever heard it explained is you can be an introvert and still be an extrovert, but it's more about like, how long does it take your batteries to recharge after you're doing some kind of event, right? So when I'm at a conference, I'll be go and full of energy, but by the end of the night, man, I'm beat, I'm exhausted. And that's why I have to have my nice breakfast in the morning with my eggs and my bacon, lots of bacon, to help me get through my day, power through, and it helps out at least. So, and then your next session that we have is, wait a second here. Shanita, I missed over yours, didn't I? The second one? Or am I confused?
I saw it a minute ago.
There we go. Sorry about that.
There we go.
Growing practice in a virtual world.
Yeah, so this is actually one of my favorite ones. I spent a lot of time hanging out in accounting groups. And during the pandemic, we all saw, as Kathy mentioned, what happened to a lot of the in-person networking opportunities that we used to have. They completely went away at some points for some of us, depending on where you live. And that networking often allowed us to get referrals. It allowed us to meet colleagues in the field that we could call on when we needed help. But then suddenly one day somebody flipped the switch and they shut it all down. So what do? We go to the internet. But you can't just go to the internet any kind of way. There's some things, there's levels to this. So I'll be talking about some of the do's and don'ts, proper social media etiquette, how you identify your people and how you can connect with your people, because all people are not your people, and how to most importantly add value to these online communities, the benefit of adding value, and how to also derive value. So that's what I'll be sharing.
I love it. It seems like those should be such obvious things, but I think we all see in social media all too often exactly how misunderstood that is. Right. So we had a couple people who were going back to that introvert extrovert. So let's see, what do we have here? So Tamara says introvert. Ken is introverted extrovert. He liked that. Linda says, depending on where and what I'm doing, sometimes I have to push myself to be an extrovert to gain new connections or clients. Definitely understand that one. Ambivert. I think that, Christine, did you make that word up? I don't know. I have to look it up. Kathy, is she right? I don't know what that is.
I'm not going to give it away.
I was trying to trick you.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
I was totally trying to trick you.
I'm not familiar.
And then Deborah was saying, please, people don't understand the distinction between introvert and extrovert. The concept is how people think, not how they behave with other people. An introvert solves problems internally, while an extrovert solves problems by thinking them through out loud, especially by using someone else as a sounding board. In the software development world, we call that rubber ducking, which probably most people haven't heard of. So Christine and I was just giving you a hard time, so thank you for playing along.
And that is one aspect of it. That's like when you're working, trying, in a professional environment.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking a little that and a few more things. Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, bringing these two guests together today was not specifically planned for these to be aligned. It just seems to have worked extremely well that way. So score. So I just, wasn't exactly planned that way. Okay, let's see here. Rhonda, I've heard of rubber ducking. So rubber ducking, so I can kind of explain it. Of course, whenever I hear that term, I think of, what is it, Bert and Ernie with rubber ducky, you're the one. Okay. It's where you call somebody and you're trying to bounce ideas off of them. They sit there silently, right? And not really actually doing anything or saying anything. And through that conversation, if you want to call it that, the solution is derived because they rubber ducked you. So it's pretty common, I think, in our industry as well sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to know from accounting conferences. So I know this is your first Scaling New Heights, Shanita, but you've been to other conferences in the past, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I've been asking everybody, what's one of your favorite memories of any conference? What was one of your favorite memories that you've had and why?
Okay, I got to meet some of my accountant superhero celebrities. They probably don't call themselves celebrities, but my favorite parts were I got to meet Hector Garcia, I got to meet Veronica Wasik, and I got to meet a bunch of other people that I had followed for years. And I think that was probably my favorite part. Getting to actually...
And both of those folks will be there.
Yes.
This one. Yeah.
Yes. I'm actually only going to be here because Veronica told me about the opportunity. So that's super cool. So thanks, Veronica.
Talk about contributing to your community, right?
Yeah.
Lifting others up. Veronica, we all know you rock, but just in case anybody doesn't remember it today, you rock. So it's awesome. And what about you, Kathy? What's one of your favorite memories?
I would have to say, like I said, every year is just, going and meeting new people and seeing people we haven't seen in a while, but just spending quality time with them, not necessarily just teaching, but just outside, like last year, Veronica and another lady and I went to, what's that place in Disney where they have all the restaurants and everything? I forget what it's called.
Downtown Disney?
Well, it was Downtown Disney, but they changed the name of it. But
In Disney World area? Yeah.
yeah, but we did that, and then we also had a few gatherings. I think you even had one for some of the presenters there. So those opportunities for us to kind of have small group get-togethers and stuff like that, it is always fun. It's always fun.
I really enjoyed the T-Sheets party last year. Oh no, it was 2 years ago, because last year didn't happen, so we kind of just skip over the year.
Yeah.
It was 2019. The T-Sheets party was super cool, and my husband was there, and your title about accountants having personalities, he was blown away, by the parties. They did throw a really good party at QuickBooks Connect, and I'm hoping T-Sheets will be at scaling new heights because I'm down.
So T-sheets
I doubt they will.
Yeah, T-sheets won't necessarily, but I've always felt, and I'm trying to build it every year. I figured they had a Matt. Matt was responsible for doing that stuff before, right? And when Matt left, there should be another Matt that should help try to keep those things growing each year. So fingers crossed, try to put something together for a good fun event again this year as well. I definitely like the events. Probably one of my favorite things was, so I kind of shared this before, but QB Community Live, the way the group got started was Linda and I, I think this was 2018 is what it was. We had started to kind of collaborate and connect, and we were going to be going to QuickBooks Connect, and we decided hey, we should try to record and live stream and show people what it's like to go to these conferences. Had never been to one before, really, to where it was a whole new experience. And it was a lot of fun because we connected with so many different community members that to me was the pivot point or the foundation of getting to know this industry, and where everybody seems to be, they're just so helpful and willing to take time with each other, right? So because of that, you start to connect with these folks. Now you have contacts throughout the whole year. When you start to have questions or challenges, you can reach out to directly, so you can continue to grow the knowledge, you can check yourself before you wreck yourself with your friends. We all have the same challenges and struggles as we're trying to grow our firms. And it's basically what started this whole thing. It's why every time I go to a conference, I always try to do some form of live stream to some extent. I think that's always the fun stuff. Now there's going to be an event. I believe it's apparently, what is it? Expensify is putting something together with Woodard with a mechanical bull that I don't know, that depends on how young I feel, whether I'm going to try that bad boy out. Otherwise, I'm going to bribe the mechanical bull operator to be nicer. What do you think?
I'll be there for support.
Me too. There's no way I'm getting on one of those things.
Come back home broken in multiple pieces. Be like, it's kind of a hidden. It's supposed to be a hidden secret how fun the parties are, right? There's for clients, if you're watching this, I like them to kind of think that this is a mundane. Oh, you're going to an accounting conference. What are you going to do? Talk about taxes the whole time?
Sure.
Exactly. That way, we still get to go and have a good time. It should be neat. How do both of you handle when you're at these shows? How do you handle the work that still has to go on? So who's doing the work? Are you staying in contact? What do you do?
So, as I talk about and managing the unstoppable growth that I hope you all experience, I actually increased my team this year. I think we pretty much tripled it. So I am going to leave the work in the very capable hands of Clatia's not on, but I do see Christine is here, and I am not going to check in with them. I'm only going to talk to them if something catches on fire, and I'm just going to be fully present this time, I hope.
And if it catches on fire, they should call the fire department.
Yeah, I probably won't be of much use anyway.
What about you, Kathy?
Well, that's one thing that I like about being a solopreneur. It's basically my time is flexible enough where I can just let people know in advance that I'm going to be doing this X, Y, and Z over such and such a time, and everything waits until I get back.
So good, proper planning. And this is what I heard from both of you is proper communication ahead of time. So expectations while you're gone, right? And especially you grew 3 times the number of employees. I mean, that sounds like 6 times the amount of headaches sometimes, but I mean,
it can be.
Yeah,
it can be.
But trusting into your team that they'll be able to address it. Because truly, as we love to say, there's no such thing as an accounting emergency, right? Except for September 15th and October 15th.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 days. So how about everybody else in the comments? If you're going to be going to the show, how do you handle? How do you take certain time during the day to try to answer certain questions? I mean, because even if you can try to preface this with clients as much as you want, but there's still going to be some communication stuff that happens, I assume, right? What do you?
I haven't even made formal announcements to our
Really?
clients that I'm going anywhere. No, because I'm trying to build a practice that can run without me. So this is my first test. I read the book Clockwork. I love Mike Michalowicz's Clockwork. And I've been really working hard on doing some of the things that he teaches in the book. So now it's test time to see if, and we won't be going that long. What are we? I'll probably be going for 5 days, and
Yeah.
2 of them are Saturday and Sunday. So we should survive.
Very well said. And everybody's saying they really like, Tanya's saying definitely love the way you're saying it. Liliane's saying, like Kathy, I have let my clients know my team of 3 can handle any overflow problems. If it's an emergency, I can always call to check in. So in like past years, when I had a business partner, and it definitely made it a lot easier to be able to take off and do these, type of events, because there's definitely full support type scenario there. I still, because we use an outsourcing team, we do have people that are doing the majority of like the background work, but I've absolutely been pushing as hard as I can to get all projects done as much as possible and out of the way now before I'm gone. So, because those are the ones that always pop their head up and try to bug you. And this will be the first year where I think I'll have to watch it a little bit more, the communication stuff. But I've been setting the table with clients ahead of time, so hopefully they would know. Because, like I said, this is partially my vacation time too, right? So it's like you need that reset. Ken was saying, check emails when I can, text for emergencies from office. Love it. And then Teresa on Facebook was saying she does something similar to Kathy, let everybody know that to be out of town and only respond to fires. That's so again, quick tip I always do is the email notification, I'm gone type stuff. So as we get a little bit closer to the end here, what about any suggested tips or tricks that you have learned over the years to make your time at a conference successful? What would you suggest people be doing? You want to go first, Shanita?
Carry a notebook. I know it sounds real old school, and we're very much into snapping pictures of the screens and presentations. But how many of you really go back?
I'm a paper person always, yeah.
How many of you really go back and scroll through those pictures? Or if you do, how much attention do you give it? So I find that when you have to manually write a note, you're really thinking about what you're writing, and you'll be more likely to remember it or to implement that thing. There's always a gazillion things you learn that I can't wait to get back. I'm going to do this right away. And then life happens, business happens, and that thing doesn't happen. But if you have a notebook, you can scroll through your pages and flip through and I remember that, and you're more likely to get it done. So that would probably be my number 1 tip of things to do. And meet one new person that you're going to keep in contact with, and I don't know if you want to call them just a friend, an accountability partner, but just meet one person that you can kind of continue the conversation. And they don't have to be exactly like you. It's probably better if they're not like you, but make one new friend, at least minimum.
Kathy, how about you? Tip for a conference?
Okay. Well, one of the things that everybody should do, if you haven't done it already, and this is for any conference you go to, if there is an app that you can download, go ahead and do that. Go into it and start looking at some of the things that are in the app and get yourself familiarized with it, because you're going to use that app for all kinds of stuff. I've got mine pulled up here where you can actually view the schedule. You can see who's attending. You can send private notes to people who are attending or who are teaching. You can actually get a layout of the facility. And once they get closer to and people start signing up for sessions, you'll be able to see what room and everything you get to go to. Plus you get all your, and I've got a notification here, it looks like. So, but any notifications that you get will show up in there as well, such as whether somebody liked your post. If you want to go ahead and start putting stuff in the event feed, you can do that. Make sure you use the hashtag SNH21 when you do that. So that way it will also appear in Twitter. And yeah, do that app. Make sure you use your app, and it makes your life so much easier. I'll tell you.
Brilliant suggestion. I'm really glad you brought it up. I was actually going to go and try to log in to show through Zoom, but I don't know my password, so I can't do it because I haven't even logged in lately. So thank you for the reminder. I need to get into that. And it's actually really important to try to do that a little bit ahead of time, because it's how you're going to make connection points. You're going to see who's going to be there, who's not. So you can find that person you want to meet while you're there and make that new connection. Maybe you find your conference buddy off of it too, because one of my tips is always having a conference buddy if you can. And if you're going with your team, make your team split up. Don't let them all stay together, because I think that people tend to learn more if you split the team up and they're all, hopefully there's a specific goal in mind of I need to solve this, or I'm looking for this kind of an app. But if they split up a bit, then you can actually have more opportunity to learn more. I love what Ken was saying in here. This is a great tip. So Ken was saying, of course, notes, schedule time after to review the notes, so nighttime wise and such. But another one was post speaker notes through your company Facebook accounts while speakers are talking.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so social engagement, everything else, and it's just a good reminder. If you take a picture while the person's presenting and tag it, and you're adding in a comment or a quote or something, same thing for main stage and all of that type of stuff. Great suggestion, and great use of social media. I always forget to do that. Always forget. So that's Tanya was saying, is anyone else having trouble putting their photo up on their profile? As soon as I remember my password, I'll give it a try and get back to you on that one, Tanya.
I think Veronica Wasek posted something like that in the event feed. I don't know what she ended up doing to fix that, but her photo is up now, so you might want to reach out to her.
Nice. I will, I'll try to do a quick little video that I can post onto my profile about the app itself. What's interesting is actually kind of food for thought. If you're not attending, can you still log into the app? I wonder. Because you might be able to like engage and ask questions and such. I don't know. We can find that out. So, and Tanya says no. Well, that kind of makes sense. So my suggestion or tip that I would add in would specifically be, again, it's having a conference buddy. If possible, and I'm working on this one specific for me, is having an itinerary all laid out. So I've asked my assistant to give me a full itinerary of, hey, this is my flight, this is my information on it, this is my plan for the different nights, everything else. These are when my sessions are, the rooms it's supposed to be at. Yeah, try to plan some of that. And if you can, take the time. Maybe I would suggest pick the sessions you like first and second choice of sessions for each like period of time. And you can reference to those, but you may change your mind, of course, along the way, is a good suggestion. And then the last, so the other fun part, of course, of coming up this year is they're doing the top 100 pro advisors. They do the awards again. So this year, last year was a little bit of a muted celebration because not as many people were there, but they're doing some fun stuff, which should be pretty neat, I think, too. Any last comments, suggestions, things you want to share as we get ready to close down and talk about what's coming up next?
I am so looking forward to meeting everyone that I haven't met and those that I've met before. It'll be nice to see people again. So I'm really excited to see you all, and I know we're going to have a good time.
Yes. And thank you so much for
thank you for inviting me on, Matthew.
We'll bring you back on afterwards. Both of you need to come back on after this, and we'll have another conversation about something after scaling, but I'm super glad you both joined. Kathy, how about you? Any last words for the group for the week?
No, I'm just glad that I was able to work it out to come on last minute because I wasn't really sure I was going to be able to do that. But then I remembered I had an Intuit webinar that I was doing Q&A for today. So it kind of worked out.
Well, thank you so much for doing it. It definitely made this a very fun time to have you both. So the last couple of things I was going to bring up for the weeks coming up here, I'll go back to my slides here. Next week will be our last session, right? Basically talking about ramping up to scaling new heights. And we're going to have my good buddy Ernest Cook on and Carlos with Fujitsu 10 for scanners and such. And this is one of the scanners that I'm currently playing with that people that joined today specifically and next week will have the opportunity to register to win the scanner. So we'll be able to give that away next week, of course. Other things, of course, that I've got going on is this evening, I'll be doing another Clubhouse event with my friend Kate Keese. We're going to be talking about social media strategies that work. And it'll be this evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're on Clubhouse, please feel free to join us. We'd love to have you there. I've got our best contact information. Shanita, I'm showing that, of course, at the moment, but best contact for you, what's your preferred? Is it, we've got your phone number, email, that stuff. Do you have a preference?
It's probably always faster. If we're friends on Facebook, go ahead and send me a Facebook message.
Thank you.
That's what it's there for. You will get me because I always have my phone. Don't y'all tell my clients that. But if we're friends on Facebook, it's probably faster to Facebook me. And if it gets too complicated, I'll just say, hey, can I call you? We can talk on the phone like they did in the ancient days.
You and I, like right here. I'm right with you on that one. I love it. So, Kathy, how about you? What's best way for everybody to connect with you?
Really, the best way for people to connect with me is to just reach out to me through Messenger for the most part. But yeah, go ahead and link to all my Facebook stuff and everything like that. So, but if you need to get to me quickly, it's best to probably, and you can email me as well. I do check my messages, but not every day as far as my phone goes. So calling me, you're going to get a message saying to either email me or text me anyway. So that's.
So all of these slides, like always, will be loaded up to the QB Community Live website. And each of those, the links are active. You can click on social media, everything else. So you're able to connect to everybody very easily that way. And as we reach time here, I will wish you all a very successful week. Thanks, everybody.